I'm actually just.
So if you can, anybody can self-register. If you are the primary user for your agency, then you can register someone else. I'm going to show you both ways of doing it.
So you hit a registration button, I missed how you got to that window.
I'm going to go over that right now,
Oh,
so
okay.
we're good. Okay.
Oh, you or John?
So the first thing I'm going to do
I switched it from John to me.
is I'm going to just leave it
And
there. Or do I
click
have to
start.
Okay.
Yep. John can create documents.
I'm going to log in
Submit.
as the primary user for Malheur County.
I have the eResponse keyword or whatever it is.
Key. I have a key.
Yeah, so I can actually submit documents. So like for the quarterly report, he developed it and then we went over together and then I submitted it.
So I'm logging as a primary user. And I'm going to add Christy. So this is the method 2 that I'm going to go through right now. Okay, so I will go to users and users again. And it shows currently, here's the name of the agency and who is registered for that agency. There's only one person and she's the primary, she has the asterisk. So now I'm going to add a new user. And there's these fields that you have to fill in, which you notice the ones with asterisks would be the ones that are mandatory. So I don't know what Lonnie's title is, or what Christy's title is. You want me to?
Fiscal manager.
Fiscal manager. First name, skip the middle name, last name. Login ID would be the first letter of her first name and then her last name. Login IDs, or user names as they're also called, are not case sensitive. So it doesn't matter if you put a capital, the next time you wouldn't have to necessarily use a capital. So Christy Galavis, password. And then you have to type it in again. And what's your phone number?
541-889-7651.
Kind of an odd thing here is it's tempting to do the 889 here and then tab over and do the 7651 here, but it's actually set up to take the whole phone number here and then that's an extension. And then fax is not mandatory. And then your email address?
Is Christy at mcoa.info.org.
Okay, and then you notice at the bottom here it says e-notify service. And by default that is selected, and then e-response service, and by default that's selected as no. If you want this person to be able to create documents, they both need to say yes. Basically, the way this was set up originally is e-notify means you want to be notified from within OPTIS electronically, and the e-response is you want to be able to respond electronically from within OPTIS. And so creating a document is like responding electronically or creating something, so those both need to say yes. And then you go looking for the organization. I am logged in as the primary user for Malheur County, but it forces you to go looking for the organization just in case there are sub-agencies and you want this person to not be at the top of your hierarchy and you wanted to choose one of the sub-agencies to add this person to. So I'm probably only going to find one agency in here. And there it is, so I just click on it and it populates it here. So that's all filled out, and I click submit, return, or submit next. On this screen, they're both the same. No, I think they are. Yeah, and takes you to the next screen. And it's just showing you, actually, I think I did that wrong. It's showing you that Christy has now been added.
And that was the registration by primary user? That was self-registration?
No, this is, I'm starting on number 2,
Yeah,
just to confuse
yeah,
you.
sorry.
So I'm logged in as the primary and I'm adding a person. So let me just click out of here for a second. I think I was supposed to say, no, I guess not. Okay, now you notice I clicked out and I went back to users and I opened up Christy. So let me just do that again. So I went to my users, I clicked on her name, and if I just want her to be a reader only, I'll leave her at registered. Even though I've said to OPTIS that these are the services I want, unless I change this to validated for eResponse, these won't take effect. So you want someone to be able to create documents. Both of these need to be selected and they have to have a status of validated for eResponse. I had to go out and come back, I'm not sure why it's set up that way, to get this status field. It wasn't there before. So, and then submit return is basically just saving it. So now she's in there. If I go to my provider details and organization hierarchy, and I say view all, she's there now. If I change the date to yesterday on this hierarchy as of, and I submit, it'll show the hierarchy as of yesterday she wasn't there. So you can kind of track who used to work there if you want or whatever. This little, you can key in dates. They have to be in this exact order. You have to have the whole year. You can't just say 11 for the year, you have to say 2001. This is a calendar, so you can click on a date here and it defaults to today's date, or today's date is in red. So if I wanted to do that this way, I could. So it says 12/8. No, that's not going to show anything different. So now I'll put it back to today, which is Tuesday. And there she is. Anyway, so that's how you add a user as the primary user. Now let's say I want to, let's say EOCIL has just hired Patty, and they're telling Patty, go in and self-register in OPTIS. I'll show you how to do that. So you have to be out of OPTIS. Yes, I do. You have to just be at the home page. I'm not sure what we call this, but you're not logged in yet, because that's the only place you can find this provider registration. Okay, so now I'm doing method 1, which is on the top of this. Okay, so I am Patty, and I'm going to self-register myself. And there are 5 steps on this. The first one is your e-services. And again, I just suggest always doing this. Clicking on both, saying yes. And then you say next. When someone adds you, you don't have to agree to this, but when you add yourself, you have to agree to it. So this is just the don't use this for, password mining and all these weird things. Don't hack in and try to get other people's information. So if you say you disagree, you won't be able to progress any farther. So you have to say I agree. And then here is where we would enter Patty's information. I would enter myself, Patty. I'm not sure why there's not a title. So P, Tunes. Password twice. And what's your phone number?
541-889-3119.
And your email address.
pattytombs@eocil.org.
Okay, and then you say next. So So it's found someone with your same last name.
Yeah.
And it's saying this might be a duplicate registration. It's just giving you the option if you're like, oh yeah, I already registered, so you don't have a duplicate. But you're not Kurt, you are your own person. So I'm going to select your name and continue. And this is just confirming what I just keyed in. Does that look right? Okay, let's say next. Now I have to find the organization. And you can just type in the first few letters of an organization name to do the search, or you could search by city and submit. And it found this organization, and that is the one I want to ask to be affiliated with. So I check that box, and I say next. We're on step 3 of 5 of this registration wizard. I say next. You have requested to be affiliated with the following provider. If you're sure this is the provider you wish to be affiliated with, please click next. Sounds good to me. So I click next. These are both optional, and we're not really using them, your service information and your location information. This is kind of a holdover, I think, from ORPN. So if you wanted to, you could go in there and tell us what kind of services you provide and what areas that you serve. Totally optional. I'm just gonna pass over that and say next. So here's the registration summary. That this person is requesting affiliation to Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living. She has both e-Notify and eResponse service. She didn't put anything in location or profile. Please review the registration and ensure it's correct. You can always go back if it's not.
So how would we remove Shirley?
You don't want to, because this up here is information for the agency, and Shirley is the prime contact for EOCIL.
Even though she's no longer there?
Right. At this point, you can't remove her. You can later.
Okay.
Yes, Jenny?
And you're in training, right?
Yes.
So if we make changes, that's still old data.
Right. Good point.
And isn't it that you can't make changes to your own information, don't you have to call it in?
Mm-hmm. You can change your address, you just can't change your personal information. So you could change the agency address or add a different primary user. The only thing you couldn't change is your personal phone number and email. I don't know why.
So if the primary contact is Shirley and she's the only one who can change the provider information,
Mm-hmm.
then someone would have to notify ODOT that she needs to be removed, the primary contact.
And that actually happened, didn't it, Jenny?
Yeah.
Somebody contacted us and said Shirley's no longer there, and we administratively made the change, I think, in production.
That's true.
Yeah. So when you're happy with this, you say finish. And you notice I still don't have very many options over here because my affiliation request has not been accepted yet. It's just saying you're registered, you're in the system, and we're just waiting for someone at EOCIL to accept Patty. So now I would have to log in as, I could have done it there. I'll log in as Shirley. Because as far as training node, OPTIS knows, it's she's still the prime.
So then the primary contact has to accept the registration?
Yep.
Okay.
And as soon as she logs in, she'll see this. Affiliation requests are pending. Someone is requesting to be registered as a sub-user for your company. And it tells you what to do. So you go to users and affiliation maintenance. The following people have requested to be affiliated with you. And so there's Patty, and when she requested it, and this is my chance to either approve or reject her. So I'm going to approve her and submit. And then it just refreshes the screen and it says there's no one requesting affiliation at this time because we've now accepted her. I would like Mary to come up, if you don't mind, and demonstrate this, adding self-registering yourself, and then Jay can accept you. You want to do that up here in practice? Mary. Mary, I was looking at the wrong person, I'm sorry. Either one of you actually could. So let me just get you to,
So I'm not, how am I gonna log?
okay, so you are self-registering, okay? Which is these steps right here.
Okay.
So you don't log in yet because as far as OPTIS knows, you're not in the system, you can't log in. You're
Okay.
gonna start at provider registration.
Okay.
Yep.
Remind me, are we supposed to log in as ourselves now?
Either way.
What's your password? Is our password right?
It's always fun to type when everybody's watching you. But you know your name better than I do, so. I'm using this, correct? Yes.
So if the not primary user isn't validated for eResponse, they really can't do anything, can they, except change their own information? I mean, they can't create and submit. They can create it, they just can't submit something, right?
Yeah, but I think when we first set everybody up, we validated all the primary users. It would be,
What about a not primary user?
yeah, a not primary user,
Oh.
if they're not validated for eResponse, would just be basically a reader. Would just have read only. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yeah.
Okay. So then Jay, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have you log in up here and accept her affiliation request.
After she's done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've always liked that email. Ride the bus. Oh, that's so good.
We're lucky that I know what that is.
And I don't have to log out here to log in up there, huh? I can log in multiple times.
Do you want to view only the web content that was delivered securely? Say no. Okay. So if that looks right, click next. And then you have to find your organization. You type in just the first few letters. Okay.
Do I hit submit or next?
The submit is for searching for the organization, so yes, yeah. And then if that looks good, next. You can skip those, unless you want to. And this is a case where the whole screen doesn't display and you're kind of like, now what do I do? You have to scroll down just a little bit and see those buttons to finish.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, hello, see how friendly you have to say.
Hello, Mary Parker.
Okay, Jay, if you want to log in as yourself up here, thank you.
Okay.
And add, accept her, and then I'm gonna also have you add Julia. So he has that message now.
Okay, so go to users,
Yep.
affiliation maintenance, click reject.
That's what I said. We'll see if he likes it.
Okay, so approve,
Yeah,
submit.
and then just
Okay.
refresh that. Okay, so then
Pretty straightforward.
if you could add Julia,
Okay.
because
Go
you
to
are the
users,
primary.
Go to add users, add a new user.
Yeah. Ah, you do have a lot of people.
Yeah.
You didn't put Supreme Queen or something like that?
We're still working on our title.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Taco.
No, we don't do login ID or password. Oh, do we
You
do
do.
that for?
Mhm.
Okay. Just-
And you can change your password anytime you want.
Okay. What's your extension?
5363.
3,
You notice he's just tabbing through the fields. You can do that, or you can use your mouse anyway.
And then
Okay, now you get to give her some privilege if you want.
So, and between the two, just to be, notification means you just be notified, and then eResponse service means you can actually generate documents.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you have a keyword
Right.
to be able to
So
submit.
even if you do this much, unless
can't
we issue
submit.
an eResponse keyword to
Yeah.
her, she would not be able to submit.
She could generate documents
Yeah.
if she needed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have to find your agency.
Pretty simple. Okay.
It's down. Oh, now
Right
let's see,
here?
this one's at the top.
Okay. Submit and return.
Yes.
Okay. She is in.
There she is. Yay. So that's pretty easy. And then also you notice on this screen you could add a new organization. So if Sunset Empire took over an organization or had an affiliation or something, you could add.
And if I
So
want
yes.
to delete Magic Johnson,
Do it.
I can just do that.
Yep.
And just like that, he's done.
He's gone.
There's no extra
Nope.
window that says, "Do you sure you want to erase this guy?" Okay.
Delete Sharon.
And Larry Bird.
Yeah, we'll delete Sharon.